here because he went bipolar counted on some investigations. You know, we always bring you the best when it comes to forestry matters. Last Thursday, we talked about the Kelewu town that is in the Zozo district. We talked about the commissions that shut down a mining operation there from a company called Upper and Lower Northern Mining Company. And due to some environmental pollutions and non-compliance, the people there refuse to comply with the community people. We talk about that. And we also went in a little bit of discussion on week after last Thursday about the JECO Foundation, where we talk about an investigation that was released, where we also interviewed them. They talk about the BA Mountain that has been destroying lives, probably directly or indirectly. That one is it. Today we are going to go into conservation. I mean, there are a lot of us out there. Some of us know what conservation is. Some of us, we don't know what conservation is. And I believe that we want to learn a lot from conservation. And I believe that you have lots of questions that you've been wondering to ask about conservation. How can we do this? How can we do that? Conservation, probably you don't know, it's about the protection of nature. All of our natural resources, the waters, the gold, the diamonds, and all of those things. I just want to go deep. And today we have two distinguished guests in our midst. I can see they are able men. So firstly, we have Mr. Joseph Sayon. He's the executive director of the Journalist for the Protection of Nature, which is the JPN. And then next we have Mr. Mark Dahn, that is the program manager at the Journalist for Protection Nature. Let's start with Mr. Sayon. Good afternoon, Mr. Sayon. How are you doing this afternoon? I'm so sorry.
And when I entered the studio, I felt so relieved because of the song you're playing. That we should protect our forests. Our forests are our treasure. And obviously our forest is our treasure. So we must do everything to protect it. Right. While it's true that we promote the 3Cs, that is conservation, community forests, and that of commercial forest, which is logging. Okay. And now there is new dynamics setting in, that's carbon. So now we will be driven to 4C if carbon is put into law and then be mainstream in our laws and policy. So we'll be driven to that. But today we'll be basically talking conservation, because conservation is the queen of the 3Cs. Okay. So we must be able to talk about conservation, to give conservation leverage, because what conservation has done and what conservation is capable of doing in terms of science, in terms of climate change reduction, greenhouse gas emission reduction. Okay. So we'll be going to that.
With that being said, do you care to tell us what is conservation, why conservation, and why do our people in the rural sector accept conservation, knowing that most of them are involved into farming?
But before we go even formalize conservation through what is now happening, the people themselves are involved into conservation. There are sacred bush. They used to carve a sacred bush that will tell you, say, no one should go there and farm. No one should go there and hunt. So they themselves are architect of conservation. Okay. What we try to do is to make it much more broader and much more modern to them. So that, because as the population grows, people the demand for food, a demand for all of those come into place. So we are working along with them to ensure that we can be able to modernize their idea of conservation. Okay. Conservation is not coming from the Western world. The people themselves practice it way back. This is why today Liberia control 43% of the Upper Guinea forest. Had it not been so, but now our entire forest have been was going to be depleted. So because of conservation, they do. And conservation in a very short time is a ease on kiss on.
Explain that in detail, please.
Meaning that why the true have 43% of the Upper Guinea forest, the Liberian government has signed on to what they call the Bond Challenge to keep 1.5 million hectares of forest in Liberia, which is between 30%, right? So the Liberian government have made that commitment to the international community. This is why you see even international community have been supporting the Liberian government through budgetary allocation, through other means, because they want the Liberian government. Like if you follow some years ago, the government of provided something that 150 million United States dollars to Liberia, committed it to Liberia, so that Liberia can set aside her forest. That money will be used to protect the forest and ensure that those forests are protected, and the people around the forest can get livelihood too. Right?
And how did that go?
The government was able to release something like, I think $30 million through the Forestry Development Authority, and other government institutions. And that money was used to do different kinds of conservation work in our country under what they call the Rare Plus.
Okay.
The Rare Plus process.
I know I should have asked this earlier, but Mr. Dahn, how are you doing?
Well, I'm very good. Enjoyed Madi mood for
Exactly.
the invite. You are my daughter Nisik.
That's nice.
Cherish Joy Mama Yedan. I'm very grateful to be here this hour, discussing conservation, which is very key. Like my colleague regularly put it, conservation is very much key.
Right.
If let me just go to the little bit of historicity.
Yeah, can you just add some of the JPN background to know how it came about, how you guys started it, and all of those things?
Yes, Journalists for the Protection of Nature is a communication and advocacy as well as awareness raising group established in 2014, and we got article incorporation in July of 2015. So 11 years ago, we've been doing this over and over, advocating for the forestry sector to ensure that conservation is key, to ensure that our natural resources are managed sustainably. So this is what JPN does. We work in several different sectors. We advocate for biodiversity protection. We talk about climate change. We carry on climate education, and we also talk about development communication tie into conservation, as
Okay.
well as of the issue of protecting our climate. So
Right.
this is what JPN Liberia stand for. Currently we been working with communities in Bapolu, in Kidman, around the Gola Forest National Park. We also been doing some advocacy work around the proposed the proposed Foya Protected Area, as well as the proposed Foya Protected Area between Bapolu and Lofa counties. So this is what we usually we do. Just in summary, we are advocacy group.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to believe that before a person gets involved into a particular area of study or field, that something can move them. So can you tell us what really enthused you to getting into conservation? What did you see? What did you experience?
Okay. Let me start it. Then I will give way to my colleague Joseph, who will continue here. So originally we are journalists. I'm a journalist by profession. Since 2008, I've been journalist in Liberia. Almost 18 years now since I've been in journalism. So we seen it necessary that not just talking about the issue, ordinary issue, having reported so many issues across this country. I've reported at the national legislature for like 7 years in this country. I also served as Secretary General of of Legispool then several years ago, and we decided to follow elevate our advocacy, talking about issue that will just not just be about politics. So JPN Liberia then was given birth thanks to Mr. Joseph Sayon, Darius Zena, Siafa Jala, and the rest of the guy who started the idea sometime in 2013, and then the dream started that way. In conservation, like my colleague put it, is all about safeguarding our natural resources for it to be used for its intended purpose for the benefit of all. So we as journalists, think it's very necessary to ensure that we advocate and the policy maker too can be guided through our advocacy so that our natural resources, be it the species, be it just the natural environment, can be safeguarded and protected. Yeah.
Okay, Mr.
So,
Sayon,
so let me just come in there. You talk about what
yeah,
is the driving force.
motivated you, yeah.
It's the driving force behind our idea in establishing journalists for the protection of nature. You know, I am a journalist. I started practicing since 1999, right out of high school, and then I joined the EFBC family. But then, you know, we have what they call the B system at EFBC at the time. So I was assigned at FDA, assigned at the Environmental Protection Agency, though I have covered a lot of places like the Capitol Building, the Executive Mansion, the Judiciary, the Election Commission.
Right.
I covered all of those places. But my passion was actually about ensuring that I work in the natural resource sector. So at the time, Liberia, only protected area were under serious threat. It was being seized by illegal hunter, illegal miner, and other those.
Okay.
So the government under President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf at the time, they thanked to Madam Sirleaf for all the work she done. She really set the basis for conservation in our country. So today we will not allow no one to come and want to spoil what Madam Sirleaf had left behind as a legacy.
Okay.
So when they started to engage the illicit miner and all of those that were destroying the park at the time, and that was the only national park we had at the time that were passing the law during the late Samuel Doe time. So I started to work along with FDA most of the time.
Do you remember the name of the park?
The Sapo National Park.
Okay,
The Sapo National Park.
Yeah.
And at the time, I always used to travel along with the FDA when doing consultation, doing consultative meeting, all of those, and reporting on some of those issues, reporting on some of the danger, the risks, and all of those. So from there, I started to develop interest in environmental reporting.
Okay.
So while I was going on, I started to decide. I started to think, what can I do? So I came with this idea and shared with my colleagues. Can we organize this group, Journalists for the Protection of Nature, so that we all can work together as a team to ensure that we have a stronger environmental group in Liberia?
Okay.
And my colleagues bought into the idea, and we started to work. And besides that, before that time, I have had an opportunity to travel to Ghana to attend the Journalist for Sustainable Fishery.
Okay.
At the time, I went to Ghana. I spent 1 week there ongoing training in sustainable fishery management and reporting. So I also got that training. And from there, I went to other places like the Gambia and other countries, got some training from there. The Sayon, went to the Tanzania, went to other countries and got some training. So when I came back, we started to expand. Mark and myself, we started to develop domestic partnership.
Okay.
While we're developing domestic partnership, also we're thinking outside the box. How can we engage into an international partnership? So we started to build alliances with some of the domestic partner, the conservation partner in Liberia, national conservation partner.
Okay.
So today, JPN Liberia, because of our farsightedness, we have grown to a level that we are now a member of the NGO coalition.
Okay.
We are also a member of the MAP platform, that is the multi-stakeholder actor in Liberia platform. On that, we received series of training from the German government at the time. So we started to build up. Today, JPN is now moving. JPN has secured an office space with everything. We have an international partner from Ghana called WASI, the West African Civil Society Institute.
Okay.
They have been one of the backbone behind us. Training our people, developing our administrative structure, our financial structure, all of the structure, our policy, gender structure, and all of those. Because that's how international people are driven. The structure, the policy you get, they follow it because of the policy you get.
Right.
Not because you say establish institution, but what is your gender policy? In case of how do you factor in marginalized group like women, like people with disability and all of those. So you have to put into place those. So they train us to develop those kind of a framework, and those framework we have been developing over a period of time. And today JPN Liberia is seated. We have our office around the FDA,
Okay.
FDA along the Kakata River Highway.
So you,
Okay, so
Okay, go ahead.
that's just I mean, so like my colleague put it, we've done so many things. If we were just to talk about what JPN is involved with, we won't talk
We won't
about
talk about
the
what
core
people-
issue, the
Exactly.
core issue about conservation,
Exactly.
Madi. So it's just a jet of what we've been doing for the past almost 13 to 14 years now as organizations. So it's very key. So like we were saying, conservation is key in Liberia, there have been so many investment over the years in conservation. For example, you have the Norwegian government giving in 2015 giving $150 million through the World Bank so that we can conserve our forests. I think to my knowledge, 85 million of that money was used in Liberia, and that benefited significantly. It was through conservation. The government of Liberia, through donor partners, in 2006, legislated a law called the Forestry Reform Law of Liberia. And that law, it has so many components. But for the past recent time, we have observed that there have been some little bit of misunderstanding or is been misconstrued that conservation has not benefited much. So we are here to say no.
Okay.
I think that is an error on the part of those who are not been made to understand that conservation has indeed done more when it comes to the forestry sector of Liberia. We have other sector, 3Cs. We have the commercial, the conservation, and community. But when you look at all of the 3Cs, we can say conservation has done more than all of the remaining 2Cs.
You care to okay, shortly before you go ahead. As usual, we have the alternative youth radio that is in Zaza, Lofa County. We have the Voice of Papalo in Popolo City, Liberty Radio in Greenville, Sano County, Radio Halengi that is in Golahon District, Riverside Broadcasting Service that is in Riverside County, Top FM that is in Izweju, Granjide County, and the Voice of River G that is in River G County. So these are the stations that are relaying this program. In case you are having a problem with OKFM or the internet, you can also turn into the various stations if you are in the various counties that I've listed. So quick, you said the JPN have done so much, especially conservation. You said conservation has done a lot.
Yes.
And the JPN has supported conservation. You care to list some of the programs or some of those achievements that have been done over time?
Yes, so in 2016, we were very instrumental working with international community for the successful passage of the Gola Forest National Park Act. And that act was legislated successfully, and it led to the creation of the Gola Forest National Park. And even before that time, the Gola Forest National Park has attracted so many donor funding. As we speak, through donor funding, since 2009, about $11.7 million has been invested in that area. Okay. And that money is not just it's not just by paper, but there have been some livelihood activities being supported through conservation partners that are working there. For example, SCNO have been working there for some time now, since 2009, supporting the local communities. They are doing other alternative livelihood creation. For example, people have been training how to go into a lowland rice development, and there was a rice project introduced there some years ago when we were working there, called the Nariga L19. Is an 18-month rice that usually get ready within 18 months, and then you start harvesting. And that is it is part of conservation activity. You have the beekeeping, for example, which is still ongoing in Kongba, Pokpa, and part of Bama. Those activities are ongoing. Even within the proposed Foya Protected Area that was recently halted by the FDA, there are ongoing livelihood activities taking place there. So when we say conservation has done much, or conservation is doing more, is from that backdrop. And more as we go on, we will tell you why conservation should be supported. Recently, before we come to you, Joe, recently the executive order, I think order number 155, was passed by the president, creating the Carbon Marketing Authority, and that authority is supposed to be creating another a registry called Carbon Registry, and through that, Liberia is expected to generate so many revenue through carbon sequestration. So it's through conservation. Without the forest, you cannot you don't have carbon credit.
Definitely.
Without keeping the forest.
I can see Mr. Sayon. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I just wanted to add up, right? Conservation, like I said, is the queen of the 3 C's.
Right.
The reason being is that conservation has a lot of leverage, not just in Liberia, worldwide, internationally. Conservation, if you conserve the forest, what happens? You support science. Today, you see our children, they're reading about. There are birds you have not seen, but yet when you hear the news, have you seen a bird that playing there with mud there? Dead black what? Have you seen it?
Last time I tried to disgrace me on this station concerning birds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So there's a bird.
It's called Picatatis.
Picatatis.
Okay.
It's in the Gola Forest National Park. People are supposed to come and go see those kind of a bird.
Definitely.
But because we have not been very meticulous in how we conserve our forests, and let me tell you, let us make it clear today. It is not the NGOs or the civil society that are conserving the forest. What they are doing is to complement the efforts of the government. The government has made commitment to the international community. Like recent time, the FDA issued a statement. Issue a suspension statement of the proposed Foya National Park. We see it as being troubling, and we think the FDA mentioned the other need to withdraw that. Because the Foya National Park, there was a biological survey done there, and there are a lot of species in that park that are unique to science. And the forest itself also serve as a center to mitigate climate change impact. So if we start to destroy our forests, obviously you find that other countries you see today, there are a lot of nature problems taking place there. Our country is blessed. So the commitment we made to the international community that we're going to keep our forest, we're going to keep 30% of our forest, which is 1.5 million hectares of land. We need to fulfill those promises. Since we made the promises, we have not been able to even gazette or passing the law 3 or 4 national parks in our country. It's saddening. And the international community is spending a lot of money. The EU has spent a lot of money to help Liberia protect the forest, not for their interest, but for everyone our interest. Definitely. Because if we can mitigate climate change, climate change impact, obviously we can live a better life.
Of course, we have had lots of reports from the various counties where the Liberia Forest Media Watch and the Rural Reporters News Network have different reporters that report on burning issues like conservation, keeping the forest, keeping those resources, and all of those things. And given that you are also involved into this conservation thing and keeping the forest safe, how will you describe the forest current condition and wildlife?
The forest is under threat.
Okay.
The forest is under threat. Thanks to the EU for their latest EUDR. The European Union deforestation regulations.
Yes,
that regulation will be put into place and then given to the Liberian government so that
it has been confirmed.
So that no, they'll be doing an MOU on that.
Okay.
When that is done, they and the Liberian government work together to see where they can be able to sort out some of those issues to ensure that we can have a zero deforestation framework in our country. Cocoa is also one of the factors that are driving deforestation. So we think that there is a need that a policy be put into place to ensure that the cocoa sector is regulated, so that the cocoa cannot be done in every part of the forest.
Okay,
right?
Like we are facing Burkina Faso.
Yes, right. Cocoa should not just be cannot just be doing any part of the forest. But like we said, the Foya National Park, we want to call on the FDA Managing Director to withdraw his statement. His statement of suspending livelihood activities. You put the people all a job. Because there are a lot of people that are working on the project that now you are suspended, they are all a job. Then you also honor my government international support. because their support are supposed to come to the government on the basis of this Foya National Park, proposed national park, and you are hurting it. And we see it as being unilateral. And the father is unilateral. We want him to withdraw the statement, like the minister of Internal Affairs said. Go to the cabinet meeting, talk to the minister, go to the cabinet meeting, be able to present why the Foya National Park should not be transformed into a national park.
In other words, are you saying he did not give explanations on why he suspended those people?
No, he didn't suspend people. He suspended the work that is being done.
Okay.
Activity.
He did not give reason.
No, he said because they want to do some logging and a lot of things, so they want to halt all activities there until they can, because the Internal Affairs Minister mentioned about that they should be able to do a presentation to cabinet so that cabinet can understand some of the issues of running the Foya National Park. But from our own scientific study, there are a lot of species in the Foya National Park. Some of the biological survey was done in that place. There are a lot of tree species that are unique to Liberia, that are very good for medicinal purposes, for other purposes. There are a lot of animals, species that are there too. So when you go and destroy it, then you destroy the children's future for tomorrow. Because our children will not be able to see some of those things. Tomorrow, when people want to do research, they come and go into the Foya Park. Because one species, they see the land of a species, they say, this species in Foya, we are going to do a research. And those research fees are paid to the FDA.
Okay.
Right? So we need to make the FDA to understand that we must be able to forge the issue of sustainable forest management in the context of conservation.
Mr. Dahn.
Yes, so I think go ahead.
Yes. If you want to answer, that's fine, but I also have a specific question for you.
Go ahead.
So what are some of the biggest problems that we are seeing, or you are seeing, in conservation nowadays?
I think conservation stakeholders, especially the national authority, they somehow making the community to understand that, I mean, to believe that NGO is responsible to build roads. NGOs are responsible for the construction of bridges within their community, whereby there have been logging activities, there have been rental fees through logging concession going to the FDA, so that through a community projects can take place. But stakeholders, they around the FDA, they have been making it to appear that NGO is the one responsible for the conservation of the forest, whereby conservation NGOs are only complementing the effort of the FDA. Conservation, without FDA go ahead, conservation authority, conservation organization, both international and local like ours, we cannot advocate, or we cannot go ahead to say continue your work or we can continue a particular work in a particular community. So I think that little bit of misunderstanding, it needs to be clarified, that so that the community people themselves. The last time we were in Western Liberia, we were educating the community to say, look, logging concession come here, they pay their taxes to the government of Liberia, to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and your money is there. Tell the government to give them money. Through that money, you can build concrete bridges. But logging concession, they will not do it. They will not do it. They will only construct. I mean, they will only lay logs, bridges, to enable them to get to their to harvest their log.
In that case, who is to be blamed, Mr.
The
Dahn?
government. The government is to be
Why?
blamed, because they are not been doing. They are somehow doing it like to say conservation NGO is the one to do this, even though they are complementing the government of Liberia effort. So again, we urge the government as civil society organization, we urge the government to use the county development fund, to use the rental fees that have been paid by logging companies to develop those communities where the logs are being harvested or are being harvested from. So instead of saying that it is because of conservation a particular community is not developed. I think that's a myth.
Okay. Want to come in?
Yeah, I think that misunderstanding need to be provided some level of clarity, because if people will want to go into the community and provide for who, that conservation should be the one to be the, yes, conservation can be the role. If the government put into place a tourism program where they can create ecotourism around the Gola Forest National Park, then the road there can be paved. Because people will leave to go around the Gola Forest National Park to go and see, do sightseeing. Like the eco lodge you've seen in Nimba. The government has built a road from there to going towards Yekepa. So people feel very comfortable to go there. But for people around the FDA to be providing the kind of misinformation to the people that conservation organization should be the one to build the road, I think it's saddening.
What is
They
your
need
job?
they need to work along. They need to work around the government of Liberia to ensure that they can come up with a program, a tourism program that will enable government to build the road, or enable people to come. They say, I don't want to be in Monrovia. I want to go to Congo. I want to go around the Gola Forest National Park. I want to go to for ecotourism travel. They move there and go. They went to the Gambia. We were taken to some ecotourism site that committed bill. And we build a road, the government build a road to go there, because the government knows that when a lot of people go into those places, they generate money. But if you are not providing the information to the government and not providing a tangible plan to the government on how to move on, of course, they will continue to provide misinformation and myth in the community. And they will try to steer the community. Or at the end of the day, it will fall on government, and the people will start protesting. And government, oh, government, you see, you're going to be logging comment to build a road. They can't build a road. The government needs to put into play logging is not the only means of financial of resource mobilization
job
by
creation.
government, or job creation by government. Ecotourism or conservation can create more jobs when the area is open. When government support, when government take the lead, then the NGOs or civil society organization follow. Then they widen the scope. They widen the scope. Then that lot of job we created. When we went to places like Kenya, they are national park. Around there are a lot of jobs created there. People working, and people feel comfortable, and the community benefits from that. So we need to go beyond our normal. For me, I have said in Liberia, I said, I'm not going to look for a job. I'm going to serve at one point. I will be creating job in Liberia. I'm going to use my ingenuity,
Okay.
my idea, and not be running behind somebody to say, I want job. So, like I said, they need to be telling people now, or they need to be telling the government, work along with the tourism authority that have been established. Let's put into place a program on ecotourism. Let's identify strategic places around those places. Let's talk to national government through. Let's talk to the national government through the Ministry of Public Works to see how we can build a road for here to the place, to see how people can go there, and then safari, all things can start happening there.
Okay.
But if we can't do that and want to squarely be shaping blame, then of course every day there'll be problem between the community government and that of the NGO. But we need to go beyond that.
All right. Once again, this is the Forest Hour Talk Show on OKFM 99.5. This program is brought to you by the Liberia Forest Media Watch with sponsorship from the European Union through the French Development Agency in Singapore in Finland. Shortly, I think this is time that we turn up to you public. But before we do just that, I guess you have followed the entire show. I mean, there are too many complaints on tourism, on conservation. Of course, even us, we have reported a lot on these same problems, on illegal logging, illegal mining, company refusing to pay their cubic meter fees. They're refusing to pay their whatsoever fees. They're refusing to fulfill promises that were made to various communities, and this is heartening. So shortly, before we come to you, the members of the public, let's start with Mr. Dahn. What do you have to say to the Liberian people and the government?
Well, we are at a very crucial stage now that the government of Liberia has created tourism authority. The government of Liberia, through Executive Order number 155, has also is also in the process of establishing carbon registry. We are at a very crucial stage. If care is not taken, we're going to erode everything that we as country have planned to ensure that we remain among conservation leaders in the world. For example, if the carbon authority has been established, and then we are saying that no, conservation is nothing. Let us deplete all of our forests. The Bond Challenge, the 30-30, we are signatory to all of those international treaties and commitments. If we go ahead to say we want to disregard that, and through logging or through or let's say unregulated money we can generate more funding, I think we are kicking our own self, we are starving ourselves in the back. That is contradictory, and it won't help us. We need to remain in the confines of the law that we created. Our national development, Pillar 7 of the
Arrest.
arrest agenda for inclusive development is clearly talk about environmental sustainability. So in order for us to go by that arrest agenda, we need to be careful as to how we handle that particular pillar of our national development people.
Okay, Mr. Sayon.
So we want to urge the government through the Forestry Development Authority to begin to hold consultative stakeholder meetings that will ensure that ideas are brought on the table to see how we move the forestry sector forward. Instead of someone just coming out and then suspending activities in the Foya proposed national park. I think that's a dangerous precedent by the current management of the Forestry Development Authority. The current batch of leadership at the Forestry Development Authority need to do the needful. They need to ensure that they have much more consultative forum to ensure that stakeholders in the sector can meet, discuss, and find a way out. Who told you logging was not taking place before the current leadership came into power? Logging was taking place. But there are demarcation, there are places. You cannot go into a biodiversity hotspot where you get biodiversity, people all over the world are eyeing. You go there, you say you want to destroy the place, deplete the place because you want to log. We see it as a dangerous precedent, and the Forest Development Authority need to work along with the communities. And beyond that, the type of the money they are doing around Grand Cape Man, Bapping, all those places, go there. What benefit are they brought to the people? Because it has not been structured. It has not been structured. Everyone doing their own things. In fact, I think people are taking advantage of the poor border situation, and most of the money that are doing in that place, I don't know whether the government can even account for it. Because I know that during Balancelita, I was in the sector at the time. They have this system into place. How do you call it? They have the system into place where people were tracking diamonds that were leaving the country to go all of the country. Now, if nothing is done, there's a danger. The community in those places will remain poorer and poorer and poorer. So government need to put into place structure, and now for the FDA to start blaming conservation. They know the conservation has done much more. The investment have been doing conservation. In fact, there are other people who came from the community was sent to school on conservation funds through the Society for the Conservation of Nature. They sent them to school, and some of them today they are living better life because of conservation. Conservation today, people have plant cocoa, and they are not surviving on the cocoa in Western Liberia. Through Society for the Conservation of Nature, and other people, like if you went to the Sapo now, while Japan's Foundation is also doing well in conservation, what we need to do is to encourage the situation, is to push, and not to continuously want to denigrate or downplay conservation because someone have an interest in logging or interest in logging. No. We need to have a holistic stakeholder approach, a holistic stakeholder engagement to ensure that we address some of those issues and making sure that the country can benefit from what they have said to the international community, that they're going to set aside 30% of the national forest, and we are not even set aside 4 park yet. Then they're suspending the one that is in the process of being gazetted to be a national park. I see it to be very sad.
Okay. Let's now turn to you, members of the public. I guess you have some burning questions that you would love to ask. Let's open the line. The numbers to call are 0777-700-995, 0777-700-995, 0555-995-995, 0555-995-995. These are the numbers that you can call to be a part of this conversation. Today's topic is about conservation, the importance, very important issue, environmental protection. We also talking about the role of civil society in this same conservation, and then the role of the media. You know, Liberia has a very, 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 very rich forest. Let's take the first caller first before we go in. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is John Pandey.
Okay.
I'm the head of the consulting of organizations in Liberia.
Okay. Let's hear
And
you.
I join you from the society. Let me commend the guys in studio, Magda and that of Joseph Sayon. I think that's a good team.
Okay.
The civil society in the organizations, especially the general public, to help in the process to show that we all can join the I think on the ensuring that conservation what they have done in this country, I think is remarkable. And sometimes the blame game should be stopped. And this thing, sometimes when people get into it, I'm telling you, it gets embarrassing because somebody is pushing another line somewhere and not respecting, the executive order that was passed, 155. So if we have the same person where most of what the guys are saying in the studio is adhere to men.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Okay, let's take this next caller. We lost that person. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm Prince Tamayuma. I'm calling from Tendo.
Okay.
Yeah, let me appreciate your guests for the kind of advocacy. You know, if you advocate for the environment, directly you are advocating for yourself. Because whatever you do to the environment come back to you. Because environment needs balance. But one thing quickly I want to remind us. You know, one of the comprehensive forest inventory was done between 2018 and 2019. And luckily, the president, the latter part of 2025, he talked about the review of the forest data. And that point is very important. It is important because any common man, just sit back and calculate. We don't usually talk about the coal production, the charcoal production, right? The kind of way the forest has been depleted because of the way we just depend on the forest to get our charcoal. Most of the time, we get back, we use the old data. We say, okay, our forest is 43%. We say the upper Guinea forest, we say have up to 43, 42%. Those data may not be correct because the forest is continuing to be depleted. Those drivers of the depletion of our forest, the charcoal production, like what they talk about, the cocoa production, the shifting cultivation, and what have you. We'll keep saying that we still have 43, 42%, but then if the probably after 5, 10 years we do the forest inventory, we may not get that. You see, and Liberia is endemic as the inventory we did. I was fortunate to be part of the inventory. Liberia is endemic to around 881 fauna species. That is so rich, you know. So even the carbon tree now, Liberia is endowed with the kind of rich forest resources or resources that we can utilize, and we make money. We need not to be crying around here. The forest can do something. I think forest can as the fourth revenue contributing source of the country, you know. So I just want to appreciate your guests. They are doing well. Let them continue the advocacy. It is something that will move us forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prince. Indeed, the forest is doing something. The numbers to call are 0777 700 995, 0777 700 995, 0555 995 995. Let's take this caller. Hello. Yeah. Hello. Oh, this line it's giving problem. The numbers to call are 0777 700 995, 0777 700 995, 0555 995 995, 0555 995 995. Quick. The topic on the discussion is conservation, on how to keep the forest safe. And not just the forest, we have so many good natural resources that we can protect if we want to. Okay, let's take this desk caller quick before we go into it. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, this is Peter V. Yamunu.
Okay, go ahead, Peter.
I hear from Komba District, Kumbok, specifically. I want to thank the studio guests for the advocacy you have given on the forest. But I have one or two questions to ask him.
All right.
The first question is, can two parks come out of one district? Can you have two parks in one district? Then the Foya Park is proposing, and then the Gola National Park. Because the Gola National Park, they have not done nothing to the citizens, and they are not being involved in the workforce. If you want to be successful, the community members should be involved in your workforce. But then you count how many Kongba citizens are employed in the Gola National Park. And then they are now again proposing another Foya Park. We Kongba, have found out that a big no to Foya National Park to be called in Kongba district. We are not allowed to park in our district. Let's justify that to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, George. Yes.
Yes.
I'm Tate from Johnsonville.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yeah, I think the gentleman asked the question was, I was following the conversation with the people in the western area there, Kongba, and those of the people that even went there. There were issues that people raised. I listened to the gentleman with the consultations and other things. But are they taking into consideration too, even if you create a park, people were there before. Those villages that you are removing, sometimes their health, their access to clinic or to hospital, to school, road network, very poor, and those NGO then are going in there, they got BB card, they can land cruiser, and these people, they got to walk. Sometimes, according to one of the elders, they got to walk sometimes 12 hours or 20 hours to reach one village and all those kind of things just to preserve the forest, but they are not benefiting. That's the issue they were talking about. So they will move in there, they say, okay, we'll do the one, we'll build the one, then they divide 1,000 to each community. $1,000, what can it do? So the people, they will just hear BB, township. Common citizens were talking, they said they will hear BB, money on the air, at the end, they not even, they will invite, they will tell them, every money they get, they will sign. But when they go low, when they sign for 1,000, sometimes they will say, we'll get the people 50,000, we'll get the people 100,000, all those kind of things. So there's a lot of discrepancy. So people must be able to counter-check. Even the civil society group that are advocating, they must counter-check some of these things. But our people are dying.
Okay. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, Joy. How are you?
I'm fine. Let's hear you.
Thank you so much. This is Samuel C. Gio. I call from Bravo.
Okay, Mr. Gio.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to say thanks to the guys in studio. Thanks for the advocacy that they are trying to profile. But I have a concern. There are a guy there who is a conservationist, is discussing the issue of conservation's idea, or is there to complement the FDA or the Forestry Development Authority, and they are not the one to implement whatever they are going to complement. But I want to find out why is the checkpoint that they are erecting? Because if you compliment, that means you have to give somebody something to do something for you. So if the person is not doing that, and that which you want the person to do is getting back to you, because you should get affected. You have an interest into the forest, though it is the FDA that's going to be in charge of the protection of the forest. But you have interest in there too, that you are trying to give them, you are complimenting them with something. So if that which you are trying to compliment them with is not reflected, what is the next step that they are doing to make people to know that this is what we are doing, but these guys are not doing what we told them to do? Or in fact, the guys are telling people something but not the truth. What are they doing about that?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gia. The numbers to call are 0777-700-995, 0777-700-995, 0555-995-995, 0555-995-995. We are going to take 2 more calls, and then that's it for the day. Hello.
Yeah, let me say good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let's hear you.
Yeah, and good afternoon to the listener following your broadcast.
Okay.
I'm telling you so many men, and I call from the headquarters of the Virgin Bureau.
All right,
One of the most talkable Avenue in Then I followed your analysis concerning our forest, and I think the issue about forest preservation is necessary, and is provide our forest do not only have wildlife, but there are many other resources that can be found in the forest. And I
Definitely.
think there are laws on the book in terms of the law being implemented. This is my point that I always get with the FDA, that means the Forestry Development Authority. And I think they need to be more proactive in terms of the function in preservation, because as it relates to the issue of forest preservation, they are the main component of the aspect. And I think with the exception of that, there are expertise of people who need to be trained in order for our forest management to be taken more seriously. For example, the other development partners like the Swedes and other people who are ensuring that our forests be taken well. And I think the government itself needs to have a big role to play in this protecting the forestry development.
Okay.
Our people need to be looked at seriously, because those people who are going, mostly who are going into the forest creating more harm. And mind you, now, the forest also has to do with global warming, which is the comment causing down our tree deforestation, and all of these things are taking place in the forest. Our timber are not living, the benefit of the people, and all these things are in the program that need to be addressed. But how can you see be actualized for the ordinary people to see it?
Okay.
There's a need that the government intervene and have more proactiveness on the forest preservation. Thank you.
Okay. We'll now take the last call due to time. 0777-700-995. The Lone Star number is giving problem, I'm sorry to say. So, okay, let's take the last caller. Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Let's hear
Okay.
you.
Is it okay, man?
This is the First Hour Talk Show.
Okay, this is Jordan B. and I call you from Benson and Robert Street.
All right, Jonathan, let's hear you.
I want to thank Joseph Wholesale and Mark Dahn for their advocacy in the forestry development activities. Let me thank them so much that they keep advocating and they keep pushing forward for more improvement in the forestry development activities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too for the call. So let's go back to you people. And there were some questions that were asked, and I'm hoping that you can answer. Let's start with you, Mr. Dan.
Thank you, Joy. Well, so many concerns, but I want to address two concerning the proposed Foya Protected Area, and then my colleague will take the rest of it. And so somebody is saying that what have been done, or have residents in Komba benefited from conservation activity? Yes, I can tell you more than 10 of them are being currently employed. We were just recently there doing investigation. So you should know that more than 10 residents or citizens from Komba are being employed, been working for the past 6 years as we speak. And you know, Liberia, as one working person, you should know, if you do the indirect benefit of it, 10 times, 3 or 5 of it, you know how many persons are benefiting. Then directly, people who are benefiting from some of those livelihood activities, you have so many of them. I can call some of them names. One person who is doing very well there through the support of conservation activity. One Arthur Vawen, who went onto his farm. This man, he was first a miner, and then he transitioned from mining to farming, sustainable cocoa farming, and he's doing so much. As of last year, this gone time, he earned over $1,000. Is that not benefit? We have so many of them that because of time we cannot name.
Okay.
Somebody asks whether we can have 2 parks in a district. Well, the proposed Foya Protected Area is not only in Komba. Remember, portion of it is there. It's not solely in Komba. It is portion of it in Komba, in Bapolu, and the rest of it in Foya Lofa County. So it's not solely concentrated there. Then why are we saying this? We are saying that the halting, the unilateral or administrative halting of this or livelihood activities around the Foya proposed protected area is a bad omen. It's a bad omen because people who are doing livelihood activities, even include the FDA, some of their workers, some of their rangers, they are being paid on a $3 million project, for example, by the GCF. So hurting this, it means you taking breath from the mouth. Thank you.
All right, Mr.
Okay,
Sayon.
so
Quick.
let me just expound if I can go further to other. Yeah.
How we like to close it.
Okay, so like Mike said, we were in Komwa in recent time. There's a place called Zwe. It's an island community, right? Conservation, Society for the Conservation of Nature is building a rest mill there now for the people.
Okay.
And Society for Conservation of Nature is also supporting a lot of livelihood activities in those places. So for people to say the benefit they have been pushing is the issue of road connectivity. But the argument has been the NGO cannot build roads. Only government can build roads. NGO can only complement government. And so SCN helped build a bridge. There was a place along the road there that was it was too bad. SCN built a concrete bridge there. Over 100,000.
Okay.
And SCN has been doing some other things to keep a place safe. And now let me tell the people that the issue of livelihood, yes, has not been done, no, but has only been done, yes. Livelihood is ongoing. People will continue. That's why we are calling the FDA managing director to sit with stakeholders in the sector so that we can have a dialogue on some of those issues instead of making a unilateral verbal decision on the basis of how you understand the forest sector in the context of logging. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is the Forest Hour, brought to you by the Liberia Forest Media Watch with sponsorship from the European Union through the French Development Agency in Semepo in Finland. My name is Joy Mighty Moore, your host. See you next Thursday.